Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying. Sorry about the short delay in the beginning. We had to make the film English. The English subtitles were a bit tricky to put on the projection because, as you are aware, I'm speaking English. We are here with the program. It's called Pitch It, just as Bogata introduced it in the beginning. This is an international pitching program for participants from Hungary, Serbia, Slovakia, Germany, Czech Republic, and Croatia to go to Berlinale and pitch their film projects, long film projects, documentary and fictional films. My name is Márk, Szilágyi. I'm a German-based producer. I'm head of studies with that program. This is Benjamin Rost over there. We are running the program together. And I think there are some people from yesterday's theater event also joining us, or just joining us because they saw the advertisement for Ádám Császi, who is with me, the director of the film, his film. So we will have a short chat. I will have some questions to warm everyone up, and then you can have some questions. Because within Pitch It, we will have the opportunity tomorrow to talk to Ádám again, a bit more elaborately. The topic is who can tell whose story in today's day of age. Because we had this talk last year already, then we watched your last movie, which was also how to say, a sensitive topic for Hungary. Right. At least this year I don't have to tell everyone who is under 18 to leave the room because it's a 16 rated film. Last year's film was Viharsarok, which is in English Storm.
Land of Storms.
Land of Storms, where it's about gay football players. So in Hungary, that's the football player part is very nicely received. The other part is just maybe above 18. This time it's about Roma people, so maybe that's why you got to 16. So do you like to polarize with the choices of your topics?
Thanks, first of all, thanks for the invitation, and thank you for watching the film. I don't really like this what you talked about, like that the gay film is now 18 plus. Just because of the gay subject matter. I don't know how aware you are, but we do have an anti-gay law now in the film of banning access to gay subject matter people under 18. So, and that, for example, this included my film from Hungarian streamers because they don't want to put the plus 18 as a warning. You know, it's extra work for that. So they basically they could make the streamers not include the film. So anyway, but apparently racism it's okay, right? So gay is not okay in Hungary. Racism is fine. It's great. It's a national heritage. So we have about 10% Roma people, but we hate them.
Sad, both topics. By the way, I'm still telling the story to some friends from last year's interview because sometimes I'm in countries like Congo, the Republic of Congo, in Africa, and there in the Goethe-Institut we don't have to ask these type of questions that please leave the room if you are under 18. And we're in the European Union. So welcome to Hungary in the European Union. Why is it 16? Because of, I don't want to go into this age thing, but is it because of the blood?
Right.
Otherwise, it's...
I think blood and there might be strong language. I don't know.
Okay. So yeah, how do you choose your topics?
Both of the topics kind of chose me. So it's really the Land of Storms was a real story that where the homosexual intent was really downplayed in the press, and I got access to the trial, the material of the trial, and there the gay love triangle was really, really visible. It's a story about a gay love triangle in a Hungarian countryside. And it was from an original case that was a murder case. It was not very widely publicized. And that it really spoke to me how the mainstream press didn't talk about the homosexual intent, and then it was there. It was very clear. And it was in a way a beautiful story or a touching story. And this film grew out of my work from the Roma troupe who is in the film. I worked with these people for about 10 years, and it was an education program. They were traumatized kids, mostly from the countryside, who wouldn't have gotten access to theater education or actors training. And my friend, who is my Roma friend, who is playing the white director, so that's an actual Roma person who is playing the white director, he coordinated this program for these kids. He initiated it, he funded it, he did everything in it, and I was a guest in this program. I was a teacher. And we produced a play together, which started out again as practice, but then got to be very successful in Budapest. And then while I was directing the play, which was not intended originally for an audience, it was to be practice. It was an autobiographical play about their lives, about their life stories. As we were rehearsing that, it was a very strange feeling to give voice to Roma stories as a white person. And originally I started out as an acting teacher, but then I found myself directing that play and putting it together. And of course I could have refused, but it was very exciting stuff. It was very good subject matter. And it was so controversial that when I got a chance to submit anything again to the Film-Institut, I ended up submitting the text of the play and the director's concept. And miraculously, somehow we went through the system and could make this film. And when I say miraculously, I couldn't, after Land of Storms, I couldn't make a film again for 5 years because of an unofficial blacklist. So I didn't get funding for anything until there was a change in the fund. So this is the backstory of this film. But
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we should mention with Land of Storms that it was in Berlinale actually,
yes.
And you were in Berlinale,
Yes,
but somehow, and the National Film Fund was in Berlinale, but somehow there was no reception or anything or a press release.
No, there was nothing. It was
maybe they were busy.
No, it was very clear that back in the days when Andrew G. Wajna was the face of the Hungarian Film Institute when I made Land of Storms. And tell me if this is not such an interesting story, and we'll get back to the film, but it's Hungarian politics, it's film politics. When they funded the film, I think he wanted to respect these liberal filmmakers who make films about gay stuff and, you know, this kind of subject matter. And then when the film actually came out at the big festival and was actually looking at a world tour, they suddenly got afraid and they drew out from behind the film. Like, they didn't come to the premiere, they didn't come to the red carpet, they didn't do anything. One of my projects had already gotten script funding by that time. They withdrew funding, they killed the project, and they never funded me again for 5 years. And when I talked to them about this, they very vaguely said something like, well, it was the gay topic that, that ruined it. And they thought that they can make a film like this, but then it came out that they couldn't, that it's politically was not a good decision for them. They probably got some flack from the people in power for that. So, so this is why I'm saying this miraculously went through somehow, because I don't know, like we really, really got lucky with this somehow, that it slipped through the system. And the strategy was basically like, every time I had to talk to the Film Institute, I said that this is a comedy. And they must have not read the script or something, or I don't know, they must have really misunderstood the script, because every time they said, well, this is not going to be like politically dangerous, and I was like, no, absolutely not. There's no politics in this film, it's just a plain old comedy. We're gonna laugh at the blunders of this like good old gypsies and this and race, and it's so funny, like how the different races don't understand each other, blah blah blah, and then somehow I didn't say this, I'm just making it up right now, but anyway, what I did is I always said that it's a comedy, and it's absolutely not political. So this is how it went through. But I don't think it's very interesting. Let's move on.
It's funny actually, but in a sad way. So maybe it's a sad comedy.
It is black. It is sort of a black comedy, I think.
So, because we were with Pitchit at PUF, where you had your world premiere, but a few days later, unfortunately, so we couldn't come. Otherwise, I would have come. How was it perceived?
It actually is going on its world tour now after a lot of festivals, and miraculously always very well. So an intellectual, mostly white audience usually cheers and claps, which is always very surprising for me. And mostly there are no big points of criticism. Nobody ever said that, how could you do this, and how could you do that? Now get the fuck out of here. So it's very strange. Some of our Hungarian screenings have been more controversial.
That's what I wanted to ask. Was it even screened in Hungary?
Oh, definitely it was. But mostly, what happens is mostly middle class, white, intellectual women are outraged by the film. I don't know, this is a segment that really is sensitive to topics of course. I don't know. So some of these women, they have such a compassion for Roma people that they have called me a racist for this film. They said, I have been told that I lack compassion, empathy, but only by middle class, middle-aged, white women. So I guess it's really, really, Roma is really, really sensitive topic for them. I'm being ironic, but mostly, interestingly for me, very uncontroversial views. One other segment, social workers sometimes thought that the film is criticizing them. So we have been asked by social workers, so do I think that they should stop practicing that? And I said, no, because the people that you're doing it for, it's not a privilege for them that you're helping them, but it's something that they are owed by society. So it's not actually you performing, you as a social worker, you're not performing a gracious, privileged work for, all these people of color who are shit poor in the Hungarian countryside. You're not condescending to them, but you're performing something that society tests you for to even the odds. So sometimes it came out that, they're doing a job that they never actually thought through, that they thought that it's some kind of a privilege for Roma people to get social workers. And So there have been a few points of criticism, but interestingly, no real criticism. So some of the Roma community said that the film lacks activism. Like last day, I had a talk with a Roma director who says that it's too nihilistic or pessimistic in terms of, it says that things cannot change. I don't think the film is saying that, but I do see a point. And, but obviously I think the film asks questions where the answer is activism. The organic answer is activism. It's, if you think about this, what should be done, the answer is activism, obviously. And the answer is, what should you do? The answer is to be politically active. So.
Did you receive any type of feedback in Hungary that the Germans are crazy?
No.
No? Oh, okay. Then the Hungarian news propaganda, they didn't reach out to them yet. Because it would feed into the narrative, like in Western Europe, everybody is just about wokeness and Ugandan gender, transgender kids.
By the way, the film, just to be clear, the film is absolutely not against wokeness, even though it criticizes certain aspects of politically correct language and politically correct and wokeness. The film is not against, is not a manifesto against wokeness, and I am not against wokeness. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's a step in the right direction, definitely. It is handling a very, very sensitive and very, very difficult topic in a I think in a bad way, but, or in a sufficient way, right, or a dumbed down way, I would say, but I think it's absolutely necessary. I think it's absolutely necessary to have black elves in Lord of the Rings. So I think it's a step in the right direction.
I would open for the audience if there are questions. If not, I have still more, so, but please feel encouraged to ask.
I'm a bit interested about that you said that middle-aged, white, intelligent or intellectual women were offended by the movie.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on which topic? Was it the sexual exploitation or
no.
anything, or just the Roma topic generally?
No, they said they perceived that the film is against them being compassionate about the Roma community. Because a lot of times when they open discussions and I had to introduce the film, I said that the film was made to make the audience avoid two core feelings about race: pity and compassion. Both of them are racist. Both of them are really, really condescending. Compassion looks like a nice feeling, but in the end, if I'm compassionate, I'm still not doing anything. Like, activity is something that you have to do things. You don't have to feel things about race. You have to do things. And when I said this, mostly middle-aged ladies were outraged, and they said, "Oh, but why compassion? Right? Because pity I understand, but why compassion?" And when I had the actors with me, then people of color could tell them why they don't want her compassion. And this was the answer, what I just said. One of my actors said, "I don't want your compassion, I want you to do something, If I could, one of my actors said, if I could count how many times white people have been compassionate with me, it would be countless. How many times they did anything? 0. So that was mostly the core, that the film is merciless towards the viewer, and that it insinuates that everybody is a racist. Well, news flash, like, if you're white, you kind of are. So, I mean, I've worked with these people, with my Roma cast for 10 years, and I'm still a racist. So, and I committed most of the crimes that the director does, either in small scale or some of them are even on large scale. It's very, very hard to escape this. Like when I work with Roma people, I still saw them as a collection of stereotypes, even like after working with them for a year. When I went in to teach them, I was afraid of them. It's, you know, it's deep inside, it's in the core, you really have to fight it. And the more I got to know them, the more I could get rid of the stereotypes, but I'm still not rid of them. And I directed this film and worked with them for a very, very long time. So I think it's really, really important if you're white to not to lie to yourself about the bias and not to say, oh, I don't see color, I'm such a liberal. Like, no, I don't see that you're black, I just see a person. No, I do see, you know? So
you're the director from the film?
But we did build on our experience. I mean, we did. It's interesting. Like there are a lot of real elements in the film that we played around with. Like we really did perform the play a couple of times in Deutsches Theater. So we really did take the cast there. We didn't build a big stage there or anything. We did it in one of their small rooms. But we had to re-rehearse the play for them. And Deutsches Theater was super nice. So they were absolutely not exploiting it. They were cool. I mean, the worst thing was that they wanted to we never used music or fancy lighting or anything. The original play was meant to be performed without anything because we took it to classrooms and everything. So we didn't use props, we didn't use anything. And they wanted us to use a little something, but then we refused and they were nice about it. But some of the experiences were very real experiences. For example, as we rehearsed, obviously, I'm in a position of power, but I'm white and I'm telling their story. So how are we going to mitigate that? How is it still going to be their voice? And we talked about the way we did it, we talked a lot, basically. When I started making the play with them, and I saw that this is not going to be a regular rehearsal. It's just not going to be like any job or any play that we produce. But I have to take care not to, take their voice away. I made the rule that, whatever they agree with in the play stays. Whatever they don't agree with goes, even if it's my best idea. If you're not on the same page, if they say, no, we don't want to do this, then we don't. And there have been many occasions when they said, no, we don't think this is a good idea. Let's not have this in the play. Okay, and we took it out. So the film was more difficult because, films are not made like this. It's much more technical. But then again, the film played on the play a lot. And on our shared experiences, so there was, but they were still co-writers on the film. So, and they still got co-writing credit also for the film. So they were full co-creators, and I was very happy about that. And I think they're great. So this was the best rehearsal experience of my life, and they're probably the best actors I've worked with. So it was a very, very fruitful experience, I think, for me and the team also. Mm-hmm.
Then I follow up on it. How is it for them to show the movie? Would they show it in their neighborhoods? Like, look.
They did.
They did.
They did.
And they
right.
still live in that neighborhood.
Oh, definitely,
okay.
Definitely. Mostly the Roma. Obviously, this film, as you probably can guess, this is made from a white point of view. This is made from my point of view, and was mainly made for whites. To confront you with bias, with racism, with how white people see Roma people in Hungary. It's a collection of stereotypes the film holds at you, and basically it does nothing but checks you for racism for 90 minutes. And if anything checks out, if you react to anything in a positive or negative way, whatever you do, you're racist while you're watching the film. But it tells a very, very different story for Roma people, because they are reading it as somebody is finally, saying shit about white people. So it's
Oh, you're a hero then.
no, but they could actually show it in their neighborhood, and it was readable for Roma people, which I was really, readable in the way that it spoke to them, not that they understood it, but it actually spoke to them. Because I always really worried about showing the film to Romas, because I didn't know what it would tell them, because it is from a white perspective, mostly for a white audience. So I didn't know what the reaction would be, but mostly it was good, and it provokes discussion about stereotypes among Roma people, because they're very, very conscious of stereotypes among themselves that are learned or imposed or perceived. So it was actually a good process.
I still have questions, don't worry, just maybe you want to jump in. Will you continue work with this group because there were some actors from Viharsarok who were the white people then.
Yeah.
So I think you work with actors over your career. Will they be added to this group or?
I would love to, but some of the troupe actually stopped acting. So it's not easy to stay on the field, and they're young, and most of them, I think, to have families by now, and it's very easy to be. It's very hard. I wanted to say it's very hard to be a young actor starting out when you're 22 and you already have like 2 or 3 kids. It's hard to stay in this field. So sadly, 2 of them are left the field for, money reasons, and one of them stayed. And of course, the guy who plays the director, he's an actor. The girl who is older is still an actor, but then again, she has other professional stuff now. So sadly, the troupe fell apart shortly after the film was released. So has nothing to do with the film. It has to do with life.
Was there any point in the shooting where the actors got very frustrated and you had to pause for a moment?
No, that was during the rehearsal of the play. There were a lot of. I tried to not be a psychologist while we were doing this because I'm not qualified. So I determined when we started, because it was building on their life experiences, and there's a lot more of that in the play, and a lot less here. But these are really their life stories, very cleaned from personal detail, but still, these things happened in some way or another. So when we rehearsed the play, there was a lot of very intense emotions, crying, and we just had to go through that. I tried to stop the process and give them time and space. So to give it, but it was the first couple of weeks, the first like two weeks of rehearsal. Well, it was pretty tough, and even then after that, there were very strong emotions again and again. In the film, there was only one scene that was really bad, the abuse scene, because it actually happened, not like this, but it actually happened. So any kind of recreation was very, very tense. So the whole. Right, the rape scene, right, the rape scene. The child abuse scene happened also, but for some reason there was not, the actor could step out probably because the scene was so absurd or so weird with the interplay of reality and theater that he could keep a distance. But the rape scene, it was really traumatic to shoot, and we didn't even shoot the rape itself. Only the lead up was enough for her to feel really bad. So that went really slowly. But there's no strategy in cases like this. I mean, what I do is I just go really slow as the actor can. We left a lot of time for the rape scene because I suspected this was going to happen. And we talked about this, and we didn't shoot the rape itself because she didn't want to. And it's her decision, you know? So I let it go. And the film is fine without it anyway, but it was not necessary, and she really, even if it was necessary, she didn't want to do it, so. And I mean, nudity or any kind of explicit stuff, it has to be the actor's decision too. I cannot make somebody do anything like that. It's always a negotiation, of course, before we even start preparing the project. But if she says on location she's not going to do it, then she's not going to do it. That's all. So I think the only way to go in these cases is respect and space. You know, respecting the other people's decisions.
Were the actors mostly over their traumas, or were they processing it during the? So was it part of their healing process? I guess it's always part because you're never fully over a trauma. But did they start it with this play, or were they mostly over it, but just relived it?
I don't think it's ever. I don't think these kind of traumas are ever over for them, unfortunately. Most of them, you know, most of them come from really abject poverty, and even that is a wound enough. And then other things happen: addiction, abuse, rape, stuff like that. So I don't think they're ever going to get over this. And the grieving process, it's a very, very strange thing, I think, because I think miraculously by the age of 22, 23, when I started working on the play with them, they were already over it. I mean, they did process it to a considerable extent, but this is one of those things that that is going to stay with them for the rest of their lives. This is, in a significant way, it's not going to get better. It's one of those, you know, there are those things that happen in your life, and then nothing is the same ever again. This has already happened to them when they were like 9, 8, 12. So it's very tough, but they're not, I mean, I think they're great. They're not, if they were here, which I wish they were, you wouldn't see a bunch of traumatized people, you know, depressed and everything. So I think that's what's miraculous about them, that I think they made an enormous effort to overcome. And that's what made, I mean, while I was working with them, it was a constant inspiration that what they overcame, you know, by the time they are 22. I mean, I would be proud of myself if at 22 I would have been so mature and I could go through a very difficult process of making a play about my own life, you know, in such a way. So
I still have one final question, if nobody else from the audience has one. It's actually 1.5 questions, but you can answer just one. So you are partly in Germany now.
Mm?
Is this a documentary? Is German society getting strange? And what's your next project? Will you even get a next project? How will, after doing this?
Not in Hungary.
Yeah.
So I already applied for funding after making this film twice, and no, I'm not getting any funding from Hungary. But it's not,
because the scripts are not good enough.
No, obviously the scripts are, all of them are really bad. But that's why. Anyway, but the Hungarian Film Institute thought that this film was, left-wing provocation. This is what they said, and we screened it to them. So, and that it's desecrating national symbols. It's desecrating the flag, and it's desecrating
the anthem.
Right, the anthem, definitely. So I knew that I was not going to get funding after that. Not that I would. Actually, I don't mind that I'm not getting. I mind not making movies. I don't mind not making movies with the Hungarian National Film Institute, really. And what was the other question?
One was that, so you're in Germany now. Is German society...
No, I fully live in Germany now. So it's not a back and forth. Politically, I'm done with this country, and I'm very, very done with the Film Institute here. I don't see a chance of making a film in a free way here, and that's it. I can't do this anymore. No, it's not all the stuff about all of the criticism of the newspapers and everything in the art world. That's a mild criticism of the PC and woke culture. And it's not meant to be a caricature of Germany or anything. Like
I just asked because you did this film before you lived there. Now you live there, so
right. It's not specific. I think what I said as we were talking. I don't think the PC or woke culture is perfect. I think it's I think there are elements of it that are worth poking fun at to. Just to make us aware that this could be better. Uh-huh. Not every Netflix show really needs an LGBTQ plus character, I think. And some of those depictions are very, very demeaning also, I think. So, these kind of things. And I think these kind of things do have to be said. Only people don't like to say it because it sounds like as if you're a homophobe. So
you're even homophobe. You did a film with gay people and then you became homophobe.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. You're doing the whole variety. That's good.
Exactly. So that's what the whole festival and art world criticism is about. And at the same time, before we came in, we were talking with Benny. I mean, the festival world is also, at the art world, is really, really good to poke fun at. Because it's such a bullshit world. It's totally make-believe. It has nothing to do with anything. So I think it's really important to talk about this. It's really important to talk about what is the responsibility of intellectuals? What is the responsibility of gatekeepers in this community? Do they actually live up to this responsibility? Are they performing their jobs well? Do they live up to the standards that we would like to hold them to? I don't think it's always. I don't think the answer is always yes. So that's what that part of the film is about.
We will have a more elaborate discussion on this because this is a good starting point for tomorrow's lecture. This would be your last chance to intervene in any ways. Otherwise, I just say thank you for coming from Berlin yesterday already. Thank you to the audience for staying also for the discussion. and for the questions. And thank you for the participants, because you had a long day today. So, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.